Welcome to the Snap tutorial video introducing the Snap application suite. This video is intended to introduce users to Snap and provide an overview of the layout and purpose of the four following applications. The four main applications of Snap are the Model Editor, Configuration Tool, Calculation Server, and the Job Status Interface. As we continue through the rest of the tutorial series, we will build upon and apply the topics discussed within this video. So let's begin with the Model Editor. The Model Editor is the primary user interface for Snap and is responsible for the development and modification of simulation models, as well as the submission of those models to a calculation server for execution through job streams, a topic we will discuss later. This editor allows the user to more easily navigate their input files by providing four main windows and a toolbar. Each window has a specific purpose that allows a user to more efficiently navigate the model. First, we have the navigator containing the navigation tree. This shows all the elements that make up a single model in an accordion layout. These elements are called components, which are organized into a hierarchy of categories. Clicking on one of these categories or components results in populating the property view. The property view displays the properties of the currently selected component, or the shared properties for multiple components. Changing a value in the property view updates all of the selected components. Next, we have the Views window that can show a visualization of various streams or a two-scale graphical 2D representation of the components within a model. Clicking on one of these components within the view will show the component's data into the property view, where the user can modify its data. The final piece is the Message window. It provides a running list of notifications reported while using the Model Editor. Any errors that occur when importing or exporting a model will appear here. The top left of the interface consists of a toolbar that contains buttons for saving, opening, and creating files. In addition to these standard buttons, the toolbar also contains various display types that change the layout of the Model Editor, a validation display that allows the user to see the full ASCII file of the model. If the user clicks on a value within the validation display, the component that owns the input is selected in the navigator, its properties are displayed in the property view, and the relevant property editor is highlighted. To the left of the validation display button, we have the Check Model button. This option allows the user to check for any information and address any errors before submitting their model. Finally, we also have a Job Status button that we will cover later. Now that we have learned how to navigate the main user interface, let's move on to configuring our environment. To do this, we will use the Configuration tool located within the Tools tab option on the top left of the screen. The layout of the Configuration tool consists of two main panels and a toolbar that allow the user to perform various operations. First, we have the navigation tree on the left. This panel is used to navigate through the platforms and applications in both the personal and global settings of the current user. The toolbar located at the top of the editor contains buttons for some basic user operations, as well as two additional buttons for importing and exporting. Finally, we have the property view that is responsible for displaying the properties of the selected value in the navigation tree. The Configuration tool is used to configure global properties, define various applications for the user's model, and configure the calculation server, a topic we will later discuss. This interface allows the user to add and remove platforms, applications, and groups from the current site configuration. So let's go ahead and create a trace application and set up our environment. First, we'll right-click on Applications and select New. From the list of available applications, choose the Trace option and press OK. It's important to note that if you do not name your trace application upon pressing OK, your defaulted name will be unspecified until you change its name. Once the application is created, you'll need to select a local location for the trace executable. Within this interface, you'll notice that within Personal Settings is an attribute group called Calculation Server. This application is responsible for running job streams in the order that they've been executed, as well as providing control over the communication between active and completed calculations and streams. The first available option for the Calculation Server attribute group is the Server Status property. This property is responsible for starting and stopping the server viewing the current status of the server, or viewing the server log files. In addition to the server status property, we also have some more unique configuration settings that pertain to the calculation server. These settings include the allowance of a remote connection, starting the server automatically, defining a server port number, setting the maximum number of concurrent jobs, and changing what is seen within the logging file. Once the configuration is set up, we can now successfully submit JobStream to the calculation server. When jobs are submitted to the calculation server, they can be viewed from the job status interface. The job status interface can be accessed by either submitting a job from the JobStream's drop-down list or by clicking the green Job Status Interface icon on the main toolbar. The Job Status Interface consists of two panels and a toolbar. First, we have the jobs tree that shows the submitted job streams in a tree structure, including the relative directories from the root folder. Next, we have the task table that shows the job tasks that were executed in the selected directory in the tree. This task table is accompanied by a toolbar that allows the user to perform various operations like opening the job console, releasing the job from the calculation server, deleting or importing a job, and viewing the available output files related to a submission. Each job is separated into individual tasks that are populated within the task table. The toolbar contains several options that are common to all tasks, but also includes options that only appear when appropriate. When a selected task contains a supported plot file, the plot button will be displayed, and when a task can be animated in the model editor, the animation button is displayed. To view the output of a task, either select the task and click the Job Console button, or double-click a specified task. This opens the Job Console with the screen output of the task displayed. The responsibility of the Job Console is to show the screen output for the selected task by default, but allows displaying the content of any ASCII files associated with the task. The Job Console contains a tabbed pane where the first tab is the job table, while any other tab represents a task that the user has opened. The toolbar for the Job Console applies to the currently selected tab and contains additional options if a task contains plot data or can be animated in the model editor. In addition to the output screen and toolbar, the Job Console also contains information on the execution timing as well as two buttons that allow the user to switch between the output and stream log of the job submission. So let's go ahead and put these pieces together for a simple submission. First, we open a model using the Model Editor toolbar. Next, we'll go to the job streams hierarchy within the navigator and we'll create a new job. Here we can see various types of streams that can be defined, but for now, let's just build a basic single-step trace stream to understand the process of submission. Once the job has been created, we can now select the trace application we created earlier in the configuration tool. We can do this by going to our stream steps defined within our new job and selecting trace for the application in the base job step. After we have set the application correctly, we are now ready to submit our job for the calculation server. We'll start by right-clicking our newly created stream and selecting the Submit Stream to Local option. After this, select OK, and our stream should be successfully submitted for us to review the results shortly. Now that the calculation server is finished with the job submission, we can double-click the base job within the task table to evaluate the resulting output of the submission. It's important to note that the Job Console will report to the user if any errors occurred with the submission of the model and will throw any possible exceptions within the stream log. The topics discussed in this video provide a basic understanding of how to navigate the Model Editor interface, as well as set up your environment for the Snap application suite. The training videos to follow will provide overview on some more commonly used Model Editor features, as well as some advanced features of Snap. So, thank you for watching this video on the introduction of the Snap application suite, and we'll see you at the next video.